I also have in these chests maps. One of the problems with this world is that the maps really have no details, so they are pretty much useless unless you want to mark a path with locators, and then they may be somewhat useful. In the riddle section of chest, I have made extra copies of each of the riddles, and there are 23, except for the one that I lost. I made extra copies so that in multiplay with grandchildren, each player will be able to have a book if they want it, an enchanted book with the riddle. There are several really bad spellings in some of the riddles, so although this may be a nice little game, especially for the price, it is only 330 coins. The editing in the riddles is very poor, and for educational purposes, I think it's not a good idea to have really bad spelling imprinted on young children who may be playing these games. Okay, let's go up. And this looks somewhat like a control room. So I'm thinking this is the front of this big submarine. And there really are not mobs, at least not in creative mode, that I am seeing in this game. There are some really nice structures, and it's very interesting and wonderful to look at the different forms of fish. And some of these different fish and structures do play an important role in the clues. There's a big stingray down there. I will go up. There is a ring, a large ring of pillars around the central shipwreck or submarine wreck. There is a big stingray, the stingray of light that appears in one of the riddles. Throughout this world, I have used sunflowers to indicate direction. A sunflower in Minecraft always faces east, so I know that this is facing north. And here is what I meant by the not fun maps in this game. I have used markers and a set of maps to indicate the pathway for the ring of maps around the central ship. And so I will go north. Speed up a little bit here. The other major disadvantage of this game is the horrible visibility. This is just not acceptable to me. For 310 coins, I guess you get what you pay for, but this game would be tremendously improved if the simulation was much better, considering that my setting is the maximum of 12. I'll veer over a little bit to this direction. A big shark, another stingray. Some of these are important to clues. Three jellyfish plus a fourth jellyfish. That's another clue in one of the riddles. There is a hammerhead shark down there. Some of the riddles were not easy to find, but findable. There is another hammerhead shark that is part of a riddle, and part of that riddle also involves 3 sponge structures leading to 3 turtles, and from there I am hoping someone else does a run-through of this game with each of the riddles, because after finding the 3 turtles, the riddle is to continue the path to the next shark. Well, what path? There is a shark down there. I've already looked at that. There are some more sharks over here. I've searched around those sharks, and I have found nothing. Now I want to find our way back to the big ring. One of the reasons I post these videos is that I would like consumers to be able to have an idea of what they are actually getting and how the game actually performs, what the visibility is, how difficult is it really. I believe we are now over towards the western end of the ship, the back end of the ship, which points towards the west. So we are approximately halfway around. I may have backtracked somewhat. One of the clues or riddles refers to a fish shaped like a disc, and I have not found that fish. A stingray looks somewhat like a roundish structure, which may be construed to be a disc. This fish kind of looks perhaps like a disc, not really much. And turtles are somewhat roundish, and those may look somewhat like disc. Here is a map with a little bit more filled in areas. Spawn was approximately here and again, but you see there are no really identifiable structures on these just very plain gray maps. So except for placing locators for a pathway, these maps are virtually useless. And this is approximately where we started. I am going to come back over to another very westward, east. We're going east. There is a giant turtle that appears in one of the clues or riddles. And I have added sea lanterns. And there is the chest, or the original North Star and extras that I have created. These are nether stars. For multiplay with grandchildren, or even with other persons, if you want this to move along in a timely fashion, so that you move through many of the riddles, if you are setting a game up for multiplay, it would be a good idea to play it many times before you attempt multiplay, if time is of the essence. It is very frustrating for children to go more than an hour and get almost nowhere due to being very disorganized. I am back on the perimeter on the eastern side, and to my left is a giant shark. There is the ship. This is the end of the ship with looks like maybe something like propellers or rudders. There's a giant shark down there that I have not been able to follow through. Giant shark is in one of the riddles, but I get nowhere. So hopefully somebody will post a video about that. I am going to go toward the east. And so here we are with a huge shipwreck. The Grandest ship. This ship takes up about 6 maps. Here is the perhaps back end of the ship. And again, the maps are pretty much useless except as just plain locators. So this is really a big ship, and it is involved in several of the riddles. So it is an important area of activity for this world. And I'll do somewhat of a flyover. The alignment of the ship is not perfectly straight. It is broken and then veers over towards the right if you are facing north. And one of the clues, or riddles, is way up. Turn back around. And there is the blade of Montezuma, which is a golden sword enchanted to sharpness 1. Before multiplay with grandchildren, I would get the golden sword from inventory and add several more here so that each person in the game can have one. And this is what you can expect if you maneuver in the game as far as the speed of getting around in here, unless you use coordinates to teleport, or perhaps if you have advanced skills. There are several structures like that green and brown and silvery rectangular structure. Now we need night vision. And here we have the golden chestplate, diamond, gold nugget, gold nugget, gold nugget. The golden chestplate, I believe, is actually related to Riddle 12, Plate of the Emperor. The diamond is likely a diamond because there is a diamond that is related to another clue in another location. And the gold is related to Riddle 8, Lost Gold of El Dorado. This is the Grandest ship, although the spelling in the clue is Grandes. but I don't think that is intended to be some type of a Spanish word or any other kind of word. I think it's just a pure misspelling and sheer sloppy editing in that case. But it is still a fun game, and it is still nice to discover these things. Okay, I am now facing south, and I know this because I see maps, and I always place my maps so that when I am looking at a map, I will be facing north. And I am going to veer off to the side. The clues or riddles are not arranged for convenience in searching. Here is the area for Riddle 10, fossilized egg of a megalodon. Here is a fossilized partial skeleton. There goes my night vision. Dropped by accident. Here are the fossilized megalodon eggs. There was only one egg. I have added more eggs. From inventory, they were clay in inventory, and I used the anvil to rename them to match the name in the game. I am now looking for the jellyfish, and then I will veer more over toward this direction. There is a riddle. Actually, several riddles involve the abyss. I am now in the abyss. The particular clue I am looking for is the compass of the Titanic. I have teleported to the southeastern area of this world. You can see a higher border wall in the background. You can see glowing lights. I am in the abyss at one of the areas of glowing lights. And if you look at this structure, it kind of looks like a giant-size Minecraft compass. And in the chest is not a compass. In the chest is remnant of an ancient meteor, which is a fire charge. And in this chest, I have already renamed the ones that I have added. So that is a little bit confusing because according to the riddle, I thought I was looking for perhaps a compass in the chest, but I did not find that. I found a fire charge. Okay, so let's trace this abyss. It does twist and turn. This is not the only pathway in and out of the abyss, but it is one of the paths. In general, the abyss covers part of the central to southeastern, central eastern to southeastern parts. but we are now over into somewhat of a central area more to the west. To Neptune's castle. And this is a large area too. I did not bother to make maps of this area. Let's go around and find the entryway. There are additional large pillars. Okay, here's the main entryway. We are now in the southwestern lower area of this map. We have Neptune, we have mermaids. The riddle refers to a clue in the tail of Neptune, but the chest is not in the tail or in the back of the tail. It is in back of the tail of Neptune and not on the back of his tail. And here we have Helmet of Poseidon, enchanted with Aqua Affinity 1. There is something like a water wheel mentioned in one of the riddles, a spiky wheel, and here we have Amulet of the Sea, which is Ender Pearl. And here is the original chest, Amulet of the Sea, and at this location I have just added extra amulets of the sea, which are Ender Pearls. There is a riddle I have not solved, Lantern of Power, that is supposed to be near the top of a spire. I have teleported to this mermaid. And behind this mermaid is a chest. I see the sunflower down there facing east, so we are now facing north. And we have Mermaid Tier, which is a gas tier, and I have renamed and placed gas tiers from the irregular inventory into the chest. So we are facing north, but we are actually somewhat south of the castle. We are in back of the castle towards the back edge of the world, facing north. So the abyss is somewhat curved around, starting at the somewhat central eastern area down to the southeastern area, curved around to the south area toward the west. And so I am now going to go up the western edge of this world, somewhat of a broad western edge, and you can see that extra wall that kind of marks off the true intended edge of this world. I'm keeping it in sight to keep my bearings. There is a lot of coral down here, so the coral reef extends from the southwestern area of this world up to the north. There's another stingray. I don't know, there is a manta ray that is mentioned, a giant manta ray, and I have looked all over to figure this out, but I could not find that stingray related to any chest. There is a whale, the most unique and biggest whale, and there is a chest here, fossil of unique fish. I have added extra items. The coral reef area is a very extensive area with mostly very bright colors, large turtles. There is mention in one of the riddles of a fish with spikes. I have not figured out what exactly is that fish. We are now getting to an area where the kelp joins the coral reef, Kelp Forest. The Kelp Forest extends across most of the northern edge of the world, across and through northeastern section of the world. Looks like the kelp is diminishing. I have teleported to an area where the area of life, or green, meets the area of dead things, more or less, mostly in brown. And one of the clues refers to a bowl of coral consisting of the colors of life or death, which are green and brown, as already described in the clue or riddle. And I was looking for maybe a bowl, and this is what I found. This curved structure, I would call it more like a balcony. That's what it looks like and what is described as a bowl. And here we have Eye of the Moon, which are diamonds. And if you want to do adventure and discover all this for yourself and are very good at that type of thing, well, that is wonderful. But if you have limited time and want some assistance as to where to find some of these things so that you can actually really have fun with this game, that is one of the reasons I have done these videos. And I'm just going up to the top. So that particular clue was way, way down, and we're up at the northeastern edge. And you can see here, we really are somewhat, for that particular clue, very close to the northeastern corner of this world. The most disappointing thing to me in this game is the visibility. Now we're back towards pretty much the central area, but over towards the east, and we're back at the ship. Another way to find areas and structures mentioned in the clue, another way to find these things is to follow the fish, and I am going to try to head back towards the center of this world, the original ship, and there we are. Back end of the ship, front of the ship, front of the ship. I have added the sea lanterns to assist in finding this area. So the front of the ship faces east, as does this sunflower. This is the area where the enchanted books containing the riddles are, and I have additional maps and chest and various items in chest down here. Okay, let's see what happens if we press the return to spawn button. So that did work. What I don't understand about this game is, how does it know if you collect all the answers to the riddles? I don't see any hoppers or any interactive features as to what to do with these collected items in order to get whatever additional rewards are, or are they just rewards in themselves? That point is not well explained in this game, and if it is there, if there is anything like that in this game, I have not found it. Therefore, I do hope that someone with a lot of experience will do a very organized presentation of a run-through of the riddles and finding the items in the riddles and what is supposed to happen in this game. Not a floundering around video, but a truly well-organized, progressive video. That's all for now. Bye.